The most dangerous enemy is rarely the one who openly hates you. It is the one who smiles while quietly studying your weaknesses. Right now, someone in your life is pretending. Maybe it's a friend, a colleague, a business partner, or someone who tells you exactly what you want to hear. They laugh with you, celebrate your victories, shake your hand, look directly into your eyes. Yet behind that smile, their intentions are completely different. History has always been filled with these people. Kings lost kingdoms because they trusted them. Generals lost wars because they failed to recognize them. Empires collapsed because one trusted face stood too close to the throne. Niccolò Machiavelli spent his entire life surrounded by such people. Not because he wanted to, but because politics gave him no choice. In Renaissance Italy, loyalty was often for sale. Friendship lasted only until power changed hands. And a smile could be more dangerous than a drawn sword. Imagine Florence. The year is 1498. The city shines with wealth, art, and ambition. Merchants fill the streets. Artists dream of immortality. Bankers finance kings. Church bells echo across the city. To outsiders, Florence looks like paradise. But beneath its beauty, another world exists. A world of whispered alliances, secret letters, hidden betrayals. Every handshake carries a question. Every compliment hides a purpose. Every dinner invitation could become a political trap. This is the world where Machiavelli begins his career. Young, observant, quiet, unlike others. He isn't fascinated by speeches. He's fascinated by silence. Because silence often reveals what words try to hide. Most people judge others by what they say. Machiavelli judged them by what they repeatedly did. He noticed something extraordinary. The people who constantly promised loyalty often betrayed first. The loudest supporters usually disappeared during difficult times. The kindest smiles sometimes concealed the sharpest knives. This wasn't cynicism. It was observation. And observation became his greatest weapon. One afternoon, while attending an important political meeting, Machiavelli noticed two ambassadors. One spoke with confidence, praised Florence, promised friendship. The room admired him. The second ambassador barely spoke. He simply watched. Most people trusted the first. Machiavelli trusted neither, because he understood something timeless. Words cost nothing. Intentions cost everything. Days later, the first ambassador secretly supported Florence's enemies. The second remained neutral all along. That moment confirmed something Machiavelli would never forget. People rarely reveal themselves through promises. They reveal themselves through patterns. Modern psychology agrees. People are remarkably consistent, not in what they say, but in what they repeatedly choose. Anyone can fake kindness for a day. Some can fake it for a month. Very few can fake character for years. Eventually, every mask becomes heavy. Every performance slips. The truth quietly escapes. Usually through small moments nobody notices. Except observers. Machiavelli trained himself to become one. Whenever he entered a room, he asked different questions. Who interrupts others? Who only speaks when powerful people arrive? Who changes opinions depending on the audience? Who compliments everyone, yet never stands beside them during difficult moments? These questions mattered more than titles. Because titles describe status. Behavior reveals character. History gives us countless examples. Julius Caesar believed many senators respected him. Some genuinely did. Others merely waited. On the Ides of March, their smiles disappeared. Their knives did not. The betrayal shocked Rome. But perhaps It shouldn't have shocked Caesar, because the warning signs had existed long before the assassination. He simply chose not to see them. Machiavelli studied stories like this obsessively, not because he enjoyed betrayal, but because betrayal follows predictable patterns. If you understand those patterns, you stop being surprised. Today, the battlefield looks different. No castles, no royal courts, no Renaissance politics. Yet the psychology remains exactly the same. Fake people don't wear royal robes anymore. They wear expensive suits, friendly smiles, professional titles, perfect social media profiles. They know exactly how to appear trustworthy, because appearance has always been easier than authenticity. The modern world rewards appearances. Machiavelli searched for substance. Think about your own life. How many people encourage your dreams? Only when they're small enough not to threaten them. How many celebrate your success publicly, yet secretly compare themselves every night? How many ask about your future, not because they care, but because information gives them advantage? The answers are uncomfortable, because fake people rarely look fake. If they did, nobody would trust them. That is precisely why deception works. Perhaps the greatest mistake ordinary people make is believing honesty has a certain appearance. It doesn't. Some honest people are quiet. Some are awkward. Some disagree with you. Meanwhile, the best manipulators often appear charming, confident, helpful, generous. Machiavelli learned never to confuse charisma with character, and neither should you. This realization changed everything. He stopped judging faces. He stopped trusting words. Instead, he studied consistency, actions repeated over time, pressure, failure, loss, because those moments destroy masks. Anyone can appear loyal during success. Loyalty becomes visible only when remaining loyal carries a cost. That is why Machiavelli believed the smartest people never rushed trust. Not because they feared others, because they respected human nature. Trust should never be given quickly. It should be earned slowly, observed patiently, and protected carefully. Because once betrayal enters your life, it rarely announces itself beforehand. It arrives smiling, shaking your hand, calling itself your friend. People rarely betray you without leaving clues first. The problem is, most people never notice them. By the time Machiavelli had spent years serving the Florentine Republic, he had met kings, princes, generals, ambassadors, religious leaders, and men who smiled with perfect sincerity, only to betray their closest allies days later. He eventually realized something extraordinary. Betrayal is almost never random. It follows patterns, invisible to ordinary people, obvious to careful observers. That is why he stopped asking, "Can I trust this person?" Instead, he asked, "What patterns does this person repeat?" Because patterns reveal character, not promises. The first sign, they mirror everyone around them. One of Machiavelli's diplomatic missions brought him face to face with one of history's most fascinating rulers, Cesare Borgia. To many, Borgia seemed charming, confident, fearless. He spoke differently to every person he met. With soldiers, he spoke like a warrior. With priests, he sounded deeply religious. With merchants, he became practical. With nobles, he appeared refined. People admired his ability to connect with everyone. Machiavelli admired something else. He noticed Borgia never revealed his true self. He became whatever the situation demanded. That made him powerful. But it also exposed an uncomfortable truth. People who constantly change personalities often have no stable identity beneath them. Modern psychology calls this adaptive masking. Sometimes it is harmless. Sometimes it becomes manipulation. Because someone who always becomes exactly what you want may simply be learning how to control you. Authentic people adapt their behavior. Fake people replace their identity. There is a difference. The second sign, they disappear during difficulty. Anyone can celebrate success. Failure reveals loyalty. Machiavelli saw this repeatedly throughout Italian politics. When Florence was prosperous, friends appeared everywhere. Every noble offered support. Every ambassador promised cooperation. But whenever danger approached, those same voices disappeared. Suddenly, the loyal became unavailable. Messages stopped arriving. Promises became excuses. Support became silence. Nothing has changed today. Notice who disappears when your life becomes difficult. Who only calls when things are going well. Who celebrates your victories, yet vanishes during your struggles? Those people were never loyal. They were loyal to your success, not to you. Real loyalty becomes expensive during difficult times. That is precisely why it becomes valuable. The third sign, they collect information more than they give it. Machiavelli spent years negotiating with diplomats from across Europe. He noticed one recurring habit. The most dangerous manipulators rarely spoke first. Instead, they asked questions, many questions, about alliances, plans, weaknesses, dreams, relationships, failures. At first, it felt like curiosity. Later, he realized it was intelligence gathering. Information is power, and some people collect it, not to understand you, but to use it later. Have you ever met someone who knows everything about your life, yet you know almost nothing about theirs? That imbalance is rarely accidental. Balanced relationships involve mutual openness. Manipulative relationships involve one-sided transparency. The more they know, the more influence they gain. Machiavelli never revealed everything he knew, because information could decide wars. Today, it can decide careers, businesses, friendships, even families. Not everyone asking personal questions has personal intentions. Sometimes, they simply seek leverage. History offers another lesson. Consider Julius Caesar once again. Many senators constantly praised him, agreed with him, smiled beside him. Yet behind closed doors, they exchanged entirely different conversations. Caesar heard applause. Machiavelli studied behavior. Because applause is temporary, behavior is permanent. Never trust public admiration alone. Watch how people behave when they believe nobody important is watching. That version is usually the real one. Perhaps you've experienced something similar. Someone who complimented you in front of others, only to criticize you privately. Someone who encouraged your goals, yet quietly celebrated your failures. Someone who always seemed supportive, until you became more successful than they expected. Envy rarely introduces itself honestly. It disguises itself as friendship. Then, slowly, it begins pulling you backwards. Machiavelli understood envy better than most. Power always attracts admiration, but it also attracts resentment. The higher you rise, the more carefully you must choose who walks beside you. There is another mistake intelligent people often make. They assume fake people look nervous, uncomfortable, unconvincing. Reality is often the opposite. The best deceivers appear relaxed, confident, likable, because deception improves with practice. The more someone lies successfully, the more natural it begins to feel. Confidence is not proof of honesty. Sometimes, it is proof of experience. So how did Machiavelli protect himself? Not through paranoia. Through patience. He never rushed trust. He allowed time to expose people. Because time destroys performances. Pressure destroys masks. Success exposes envy. Failure reveals loyalty. And consistency reveals character. The greatest observers don't possess magical intuition. They simply watch longer than everyone else. Imagine two people entering your life today. One immediately promises lifelong loyalty. The other quietly earns your respect over months through consistent actions. Which one would Machiavelli trust? Not the one with better words. The one with better evidence. Because trust should never be built on emotion alone. It should be built on repeated proof. That single principle protected Machiavelli throughout one of history's most dangerous political eras. And it can still protect you today. Because the world has changed. Human nature has not. The greatest mistake is not trusting the wrong person. It is trusting them before they have earned it. Imagine a quiet evening in Florence. The streets slowly empty. The markets close. The noise of politics disappears. Inside a modest room lit only by candlelight, Niccolò Machiavelli sits alone. Not writing letters. Not negotiating with ambassadors. Simply thinking. Years of political victories. Years of betrayal. Years of watching human nature have taught him one lesson above all others. People almost always reveal themselves. The question is, will you notice before it's too late? Most people believe betrayal begins the day someone turns against them. Machiavelli disagreed. He believed betrayal begins much earlier. It begins the first time someone discovers your weakness and realizes they can benefit from it. That moment is invisible. No argument. No warning. No dramatic confrontation. Only quiet observation. The betrayer begins collecting information. Learning your habits. Studying your emotions. Waiting. Patience is not only a virtue of wise people. It is also the weapon of dangerous ones. The fourth sign, they need everyone's approval. One pattern appeared repeatedly throughout Machiavelli's political career. The people desperate to be liked by everyone eventually became loyal to no one. Think about it. If someone constantly changes opinions depending on who is listening, can they truly stand beside you when pressure arrives? History answers this question again and again. When powerful rulers changed, many politicians instantly changed sides. Not because they believed differently. Because survival mattered more than loyalty. Their principles were temporary. Their ambition was permanent. The same happens today. Some people agree with whoever holds influence. In one room, they praise you. In another, they criticize you. Not because they hate you. Because they need acceptance more than integrity. Machiavelli avoided such people. Because a person who belongs to everyone will never truly belong to you. The fifth sign, their actions never match their words. Words create emotions. Actions reveal truth. This simple observation separated Machiavelli from nearly everyone around him. He watched diplomats promise peace, while secretly preparing armies. He watched rulers promise justice, while planning executions. He watched allies swear eternal friendship, only to betray each other for power. Eventually, he stopped listening to promises altogether. Instead, he watched consistency. Imagine someone telling you, "I'll always support you," then disappearing every time life becomes difficult. Which version should you believe? The sentence or the behavior? Machiavelli's answer was simple. Believe the pattern, never the performance. Because people can rehearse speeches. They cannot rehearse years of consistent action. The final rule: never give complete trust immediately. Perhaps this is Machiavelli's most misunderstood lesson. People assume he encouraged distrust. He didn't. He encouraged earned trust. There is a difference. Blind trust creates victims. Blind suspicion creates loneliness. Wisdom lives between both extremes. Trust people, but slowly. Observe them, patiently. Allow time, pressure, failure, success, to expose who they truly are. Because character is not revealed during comfort. Character appears when honesty becomes expensive. Look throughout history. Marcus Aurelius surrounded himself with people who challenged him, not those who constantly praised him. Leonardo da Vinci valued curiosity over flattery. Julius Caesar ignored too many warning signs and paid with his life. Machiavelli studied every one of these stories, not to become cynical, but to become prepared. Preparation is not fear. Preparation is wisdom. Now think about the modern world. Fake people no longer wear royal robes. They wear expensive suits, perfect smiles, professional profiles. Sometimes, they hide behind social media filters. Sometimes, behind business partnerships. Sometimes, behind friendships that last for years. Technology has changed. Human nature has not. The tools evolved. The psychology remained exactly the same. Perhaps someone watching this documentary has already experienced betrayal. A trusted friend. A business partner. A relationship. Someone who promised loyalty, then disappeared when life became difficult. If that happened, don't only ask, "Why did they betray me?" Ask something even more valuable. What signs did I ignore? Because every betrayal leaves two lessons. One about the other person. One about ourselves. The second lesson is usually the more important one. Machiavelli never believed wisdom meant avoiding every betrayal. Even the wisest people are sometimes deceived. Wisdom means learning faster each time, becoming more observant, more patient, less impressed by charm, more impressed by consistency. Eventually, you begin noticing things others completely miss. The forced smile, the convenient excuse, the sudden change in loyalty, the empty compliment, the carefully chosen words. Little by little, human nature becomes easier to read. Imagine meeting someone new tomorrow. Most people will judge appearance, confidence, humor, charm. You won't. Instead, you'll quietly watch. Do they keep promises? How do they treat people with nothing to offer them? Do they stay consistent when nobody is watching? Do they celebrate your success, or secretly compete with it? Those answers matter more than first impressions. Because first impressions can be manufactured. Character cannot. Centuries have passed since Machiavelli walked the streets of Florence. Empires have risen. Empires have fallen. Technology has transformed civilization. Yet one truth remains untouched. The greatest danger is rarely your open enemy. It is the person who earns your trust, without earning your respect. Learn to separate the two. Respect must always come before trust. And trust must always be tested by time. Final words. Machiavelli didn't teach people to become cold. He taught them to become aware. Awareness protects without destroying kindness. Observation protects without creating paranoia. And patience protects without closing your heart. Because in a world full of masks, the rarest skill isn't intelligence. It is seeing people exactly as they are, not as they pretend to be.